Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk About It. Those of you who are watching by Zoom and those who are watching by Facebook Live, we welcome you to our Thursday night platform called Let's Talk About It. We're grateful tonight to have for our guest, Chef Alton Greene. He is with us tonight, and we are grateful for him being our guest tonight. We're going to have a quick word of prayer, and then we're going to get right into it. Father, we thank you and bless you tonight for this opportunity and this platform that you have given us, Lord, for empowerment and for kingdom business. We thank you for all who will be watching, and we thank you even for our guests tonight. So, Lord, we just ask your blessings upon this platform tonight. We'll be ever so careful to give your name glory, praise, and honor. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Chef, you ready?
Yes, sir. Ready as I'm gonna get, sir.
All right. I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get right into, tell us where you're from, and then we'll get right into it.
Okay, well, I'm a native of Detroit, born, raised, everything in Detroit, Michigan. Family is originally from down south. You know the story. A lot of Southern folks moved up north.
Yes,
I do
sir.
fall in that group. So upon graduation, I joined the military, and I was there in the military for 24 years as a military cook, as a cook. But throughout the years in the military, I came across some very fine chefs, very fine. And so they mentored, learned, and once I retired from the military, didn't want to change the steering wheel, didn't want to reinvent it. So I stuck with it. Fortunately, I was very fortunate once I retired to go ahead and become part of Black Entertainment Television, becoming their manager chef. And I'm gonna tell you, it's like day and night. And I tell you, I really grew up in Black Entertainment Television, taking on that beast right there. But loved it. It was a learning experience. Throughout the years, I've went on here, went to school, finished and got the degree as far as becoming a chef, because that was something that I loved doing. Throughout those years, I've not only just become a chef, but I use a lot of the tools as far as mentoring, coaching, teaching culinary skills, and that's my passion right now, is teaching culinary skills. And at that moment now, that's where I'm at right now, as far as becoming a chef, doing a lot of Zoom shows, teaching, because like my big mama said, God rest her soul, there's nothing like getting to somebody's stomach. And I feel I'm gonna try to get my best to get to everybody's stomach.
All right. So thank you for the introduction. And so here we are tonight. I don't have to tell you, you know already that we're in the middle of pretty much two pandemics. We're dealing with the COVID-19, and then we're dealing with civil unrest out in the streets, and racism at its highest. And so what I've shared with our church family and others that I talk with on a daily basis, that throughout this pandemic, while we are quarantined, we should come out of this more engaged with better skills, because the time that we have quarantined, we should be using it to better us. And so tell us tonight what makes chef so special, being a chef so special to you, and how have you used that tool in your family and outside of your family? So the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, sir. Well, for one, I give it to the man upstairs, because he's blessed me. He's given me a gift that I can share with other people, everyone around me, and just to receive that gift of their enjoyment of the things that I prepare for them. But one of the things in this pandemic that I've learned, and I got a great opportunity to do, is to share it even more, with the social media, with the Zoom that we're doing. And that, I think that is one of the many biggest gifts that I'm able to give, is to do that through Zoom, giving it out to the community, through friends, through families, and just to see that enjoyment. Because you can always, it is so true, and a lot of my growing up, my grandparents and parents, they were always doing these sayings. I learned from that. You learn that, you know, if you can teach a person to eat or fish, they can feed themselves. I feel I can do that too, but in the way the society is now. Learning how to actually cook, put things together that you could never imagine that you could put together. And put it in coloring style. You know, as we were growing up, and I'm quite sure a lot of your family members and members out there in the church, they went through this also. What we learned in culinary school, we learned how to do everything in courses. You got your first course, second course, third course, fifth course, up to the 7 courses, sometimes maybe 9 courses. They serve it to you individually. But growing up, it wasn't like that. Everything was put on the table. Your pies, the cake, the salad, the drinks, the Kool-Aid, pop, everything. But what I do, I don't take away from that. You can still do that, but in a very fancy, because that's all culinary is everything given a fancy name. And I enjoy teaching that. It also makes you get closer to not just your family, but a lot of people out there, because people are learning certain things that they thought they knew. They're like, wow, that's all that is? And it just, for some reason, it gets you more closer to those folks that you're out there with. So with me cooking, the gift that I was given, I'm just very, very blessed to share that gift with many, many people, because people remember that. People definitely remember that when they learn something different that they never do, or put that twist on it. Because that's one of the things that I do is, regardless if it's a classical dish, I respect all classical dishes as far as in the culinary world, but I have to put my twist on it. And that's what I try to teach or show everyone. Put your twist on it. You're not disrespecting that culinary classic dish that you're doing, or any other ethical meal that you're making. You're just putting your name on it and giving it that twist. And folks have fun, and they come back and they just enjoy it, sir.
So how effective has this gift of being a chef been to your family? Has it pulled your family closer together? Tell us a little bit about that. And I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna spin it in a different direction.
Okay.
About how are you able to engage people's attention, and then once you get them talking, how do you bring the gospel in? How do you so we'll take it at one piece at a time. Let's deal with the family first.
Okay, well, as far as the family piece, it all started really with my daughter. You know, when you get married young, you know, you don't have a family. You want to do the American dream. Had a family, had a white picket fence. You know, just have everything for your family. But once you start having kids, it's totally different. Totally different. You got to know you actually learn how to actually cook for your kids, do everything. Well, that's even more with me, because with my youngest child at the time, she was 5 years old, and not paying attention to what she liked and didn't like. I wasn't paying attention to that. I was always force feeding her, you're going to eat this because I made this at my table. You're going to eat it because, you know, when we growing up, you're going to eat what's on that table, or it's going to be sitting there for you the next day. But with my youngest daughter, I didn't realize she didn't like particular sauces. And I'm going to go with this sauce, barbecue sauces on her ribs. And I would make it, she would eat it. I'm like, you're going to eat this before you eat anything else. It's going to be ready for you. But it was going. But fortunately, my wife had to go out of town, and I actually was sitting down and I happened to make that rib again. And I just sat back and I asked her, what is the problem? Why are you not eating these ribs? And she literally said, Dad, I don't like the sauce on it. The sauce make me feel funny, and I don't like it. So I was like, wow, you know, my ears had started opening. She's been telling me that the whole time, but my ears had opened, you know, listening to what my young child is telling me, because I'm forcing it. So I went on ahead and changed it up. So I said, what do you like? You know, she said, I don't like nothing on it. So that made me create, okay, I had to make it without sauce, but I got to make it taste good. That's why I went ahead and created my seasoning. She gone ahead and eating it. And what I've learned from that, she started eating it. And today, that is my biggest fan today, because that's who I go to. Check this out. What do you think? Check this out. What do you think? And she's very quick to say, "No, Dad, you might want to put that on the shelf and start over, because that's not going to work." I'm like, okay. And I respect that, because throughout the years, that was my ride and die during my culinary journey for her to test. That was always my tester. But what I've learned from my youngest daughter is, you're never too old to learn from the young, because they may be saying something little, but you have to, as an adult, open up your ears and listen. You have to take it in and listen. It's not about mama, it's not about daddy. It's about taking care of that child that you produced.
And listening to you, a couple of things here. Sometimes we say it's difficult trying to figure our kids out, but it comes back to two things. One is communication. You got that one-on-one time, and I believe the Lord orchestrated that for you. When your wife went out of town, you had that one-on-one time to set and talk to your daughter, and you were able to accomplish some things and learn some things about her. Yes. And I think in the season that we're in, we need to figure out how we can engage our children, because if we don't, we're going to lose them in the process.
Yep. Yes,
and
sir.
So you took something as simple as a rib with sauce on it and said, okay, tell me what you like and what you don't like. And what that did, and what you're saying to us tonight, it sparked a conversation to the point where you got her talking, and she told you what she didn't like and what you did like, and then she became somewhat of your critic and say, okay, you try this and tell me what you think. And not only that, but it brought your relationship together, right?
Yes. You couldn't have said it no better, sir. You couldn't have said it no better.
And so my oldest daughter tell me this all the time. Every time I go over her house, she always wants to trap me into some games, and all the games deal with is communication. And sometimes I think they're the craziest games to play. And I'm like, oh my goodness, girl, can you give me a break? Why is it that we got to be engaged in something all the time? But I'm getting it. I understand it. And her mindset is, she says, when you communicate and when you talk, you get to know stuff that you didn't know. I found out some stuff after 30, 40 years, 30 years at least, or more, that I didn't know. So like you said, we don't know it all. We're never too old to learn. And that's a message for all of us tonight, coming from you, how you were able to get with your child and to understand her a little bit more, which probably opened the door to bring your relationship in another way, where you and her were able to tap into some things that maybe you couldn't tap into before.
Well, I can also add on to that, Bishop, that it's contagious, because as my oldest was seeing what was going on and coming up through the years, I was able to communicate not only to my youngest, but my oldest. And when you have that type of communication going, it's been many times. Thank you. My daughter survived. They're young adults now. But as you're going through the years, that communication gets like that, to where they're not afraid to come talk to you about anything. And there's been many times I had to just become the listener and not react and just listen, because they're using a lot of the tools that you taught them. And you're saying in your mind, as they sitting up there telling you about this young boy, they laughing, talking to about this young man they met. And in my mind, I'm saying, oh Lord, what you do? What you do? You try not to react, but they're saying the right things. And when she tells you the right thing that what she done, you're like, whew. But it teaches you that how to somewhat humble yourself and just listen. It teaches, I've learned, just listen sometimes. It don't take words, just listen. Because when you react, you're going to get a different reaction, or the reaction you don't want when you reply to certain things. And I've learned that, through my years raising my daughters. So that, and again, it goes back. That's something, God, that's a test, man.
And something as simple as cooking can work wonders and bring us together. Not only with your children, it can bring any two people in the house together. It can bring you and your spouse. It can bring two friends together. Now,
Yes.
Now you've been doing this. You've been a chef for how many years?
Over 34 years.
Over 34 years, and you have a platform on, is it Friday nights or Saturday nights?
Saturday evening, sir.
Saturday evenings, and on that platform that you have, it's like pretty much a cooking show. Am I correct?
It's a cooking show, but it's more, everyone is so engaged. And what it does is I throw all kind of dishes out there, and I ask them, what do you want to cook? We're going to put a twist on it. They send it. I create the menu. I send it out that Saturday evening. And, I make sure I send it out the week prior. Well, about maybe 4 days prior. So everyone get the ingredients, do their mise en place. I teach them a few culinary terms, but we're having fun with it because you have husband and wives up there clowning, doing things together. And that's the one thing about this pandemic. You can't run nowhere. You have
That's
time.
You can't run. You can't run. And I've said COVID has helped us to see who's who.
It really
outside the house and inside the house, because normally our daily routine is we go to work, if we got children, we drop them off, making sure they get to school and going to work and coming back home, the hustle and bustle. You get home, you fix dinner, and time is going by, you put the kids to bed, then you start your routine all over again. And so that sometimes you don't have all of that time to engage, but now COVID has given us time from the time we get up until the time we go to bed every day. And so now we're getting to see some stuff that probably we didn't see before. Some stuff is being exposed that we probably didn't see before. But I think and I believe that it's a good thing, because I believe that the Lord can use it. He can use it tremendously for his glory and for our benefit.
Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so continue to tell us about Saturday evening, and we're gonna take it in another direction. And before I take it in another direction, I'm gonna ask, is there any questions before we move in and shift in a different direction?
Okay. And like I was saying, you have husband, wife, having fun, doing silly things, cousins, families, friends, just all walks of life. And you're, again, like I said, you're learning things where you can either cook while we're doing it or just sit there and look at it. And the one thing I learned, and I tease them every time, I've been doing it for years and it's just natural for me. But when they see that they make that first dish, because I show them how to present it, because presentation is everything. If it look good, I'm going after it. But if it look crazy, you're going to be kind of hesitant with anything. So we talk about the presentation, and I tell you, when they put up their plate and doing that presentation, and I'm like, hold up, there is no way your plate can look better than my plate. That ain't supposed to go. Shake the plate a little bit so something to look a little crazy. Your plate can't look better than mine. And it's just the laughter and just the bringing it together, something, they're doing something different. You're cooking all the time, but let's put a spin on it. Do something different with it. There's many ways you can make meatloaf. There's many ways you can make spaghetti. Let's take off them blinders and look at it like this instead of like this.
So stop right there for a minute.
Yes, sir.
So blinders. When we got ready to put the topic on this lesson, my daughter and one of the other young ladies who works with me putting the flyers out asked me, Bishop, what's the topic? And I said, I'm not sure yet. I'll let you know tomorrow morning. And so in prayer, I heard the Lord say, lessons from the chef. And so I know many people probably been waiting up to this, trying to figure out, okay, what does lessons from the chef mean? but you have helped us tonight that you can take something as simple as cooking and bring people together and have laughter. And the reason why I say that is because of the fact that during COVID-19, a lot of people are dealing with mental illness, depression, so many different things because they're trapped in the house and they need something to make them laugh. And sometimes we feel like, okay, I'm stuck here in the house. What do I do? But there are some things that we can do to help us while we're in the house and make it fun. And so you've helped us tonight by telling us how just getting a dish together, and there's many ways. There's no one way that you have to do it. And I used to think that when until I got corrected by my oldest daughter. I asked her to sweep the floor. When I was growing up, my parents showed me how to sweep the floor, and I thought it was only one way because that was the way that they showed me.
Get it up.
And so when I asked my daughter to sweep the floor, she was like just dragging the broom, and I'm like, girl, put some energy in this thing. This is how you sweep a floor. And so when I gave the broom back to her, she stopped and she said, well, can I say one thing? I said, sure. She said, does it really matter if I don't use the way that you were taught, as long as we get to the end result and that's a clean floor? Man, I couldn't say nothing. So we're still learning. We're still learning. And whenever you put yourself in a situation where you stop learning, you become dangerous. So
yes, you do. You do. You do. And I'm very fortunate to, you know, of course, I work with a lot of grown folks, and I'm going to use that term, grown folks, because sometimes it's hard to deal with grown folks, try to teach them different ways. But I'm very fortunate on Zoom, everybody's in. But it's when you're teaching those kids, let me tell you, that's a woosah to me. That sets a whole different tone, Bishop. I mean, it's a different, their imagination is unbelievable when you're teaching these young kids. That's our future. So when I'm up there, you know, when I was, you know, teaching the kids, I tell you, I love going to work. They could have paid me for free to do that because of what I was experiencing with those kids, because their imagination is endless. It's endless. So their creativity, the way they create things, because they don't see it the way we see it. They see kids, young kids or young adults, they see things different than I do. And I have to set that and let them run with it. Okay, let me see where you're gonna run with that. But like you said, that end product, oh my goodness, you be like, wow, unbelievable. So those kids, I'm not being prejudiced, but I love working with the kids more than the grown folks. Because sometimes grown folks, we're set in our ways.
We are.
We don't know how to sometimes get away from some of our ways. And I have no problem with that. But when you with those kids, oh my God, all I just say is that's my woosah right there, Bishop. I tell you, I can do that for free.
So we're gonna give a few minutes to see if anyone have any questions that they want to shoot you, and then we'll shift and go in another direction. Now, are there any questions? We have a chat box. Okay, it says, how can we participate in your Zoom event?
What I would do immediately after this, or once my daughter comes down, I have them shoot all the communication to the Bishop.
You can send it to me and I'll put it out. Great.
Yes, sir.
Now, I want everybody to know that Chef Greene is from Woodbridge. He's pretty much our neighbor. He's not that far from us.
Right.
And so, Chef, let me ask you this: if it's a special occasion on a weekend, say an anniversary or
oh my goodness,
would you be willing to come? Do you do house calls?
Oh, Bishop, you're gonna get me to talking up here now. Let me tell you, that was really, that was actually what I'm actually doing now. I actually have my own catering business, but I'm more into the intimate settings. And that was my very first one, and it was so successful. I'm actually still doing this couple's anniversaries every year. But yes. If you have a husband out there that wants to just the anniversary coming up or his wife's birthday, and he just don't want to go out in the world and be around folks. I want to hit home. I would literally come to your home. First, I would give it to the husband. Where do you want to go with it? We'll go ahead and create a menu. What do your wife like? We're going ahead, create that menu. I would give him a tasting, not her, but I would make a tasting for him to make sure it's at his standard. Then I say, okay, we got that menu. Next thing I'm gonna say is, what is the theme you want to go with? If he say, I want the Hawaiian theme, I want the black and white bow tie setting, no problem. I'm gonna have it set up. Of course, it's gonna be on plates. It ain't gonna be on no paper plates. It's gonna be on the plates, the wine, and I'm gonna ask, the last thing I'm gonna ask, well, second to last is, what type of music do you want? We're gonna have the ambiance and everything. And it's gonna be in your home. It's gonna be in your home, but you're not gonna think you're at home. And then what really takes it over the top, I actually prepare everything right there in front of you. It ain't no just come pack it up, it's in a package, you take it out on the plate. No, no, no. We're actually doing everything live right there in front of you. And if I have the wait staff, they're actually gonna wait it on you, give it to you, and explain what you're eating. So,
well, I'll tell you what, once COVID is done, you might get some takers. And so you send me all of your information and I'm going to put it out so everybody can get it. And also, let me ask you this. What if it's someone out here doing COVID and said, you know, I know I need to do something. I just don't know what it is. So you would be willing, or your class is set up on Saturday night to teach people how to cook?
For free.
For free. Now listen, audience, listen. Most of you, in order to take a culinary class, I looked it up some years ago because I was thinking about doing it myself, and I know it's not cheap. So here we are tonight with Chef Greene saying that he will be willing to do it for free. Now you can't get it no better than that. Here's what the Lord have done for us so far. He's shut everything down. You get to watch and go to church right at home. Pretty much you can stay in bed and watch your pastor or your best preacher and don't even have to put on a suit and then go right back to sleep if you choose to on Sunday. Here's another blessing that the Lord is throwing out, letting you know there is no excuse why you can't do something. So Chef Greene is saying to us tonight through Zoom and Facebook Live that he's willing to teach you free. So all of you out here that's listening, if you had a desire to be a culinary, to use that as a gift or want to learn that, this is your opportunity. We'll make sure that you get all of the information, and so you'll be able to come on Saturday nights at what time?
At 5 o'clock. And it's from 5 to 6. But let me tell you, my folks, my daughter has to give me the finger because we go over the time about a half hour. And my daughter gives me that finger. She's like, Daddy, we got to wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
And because they're so engaged. And may I say this, Bishop?
Yes, sir.
That you're putting it out to them, but I want to put this out to your audience that this can be very contagious because your juices are going to get the flowing and you're going to just be like, my motto is, if you can think it, you can make it.
All right.
If you can think it, there's no way you can make it. You can make it. And it's contagious. Once it get to going, you're going to be like, oh, I'm just going to say, don't be messing over no food now. You know?
Any other questions that you have for the chef tonight? Anyone? Before we move on. Questions such as, okay, chef, maybe someone might be thinking, I want to do it tonight. So what would I have to purchase in order to start it or to be able to be a participator okay, that question, let me see. Okay, all right, got you. I'll hit that question in a second. What is it that they have to purchase if they want to join you on Saturday night? What do they need?
What I do in the link that I'm gonna send you, because it's the invitation, and I
Okay.
have a paperless invitation. And in that invitation, there's the Zoom link, and then there's the link to go to the menu of how to prepare everything. And that will tell you everything that you have to get. And what I do, I tell everyone, which is in the invitation, make sure you do all your chopping and all that, so we can go flow right into the actual cooking preparation. And once you realize that it doesn't take no more, because I make sure the dishes that I do, they're not time consuming. There are dishes out there that is time consuming, but we don't need all that time consuming dishes. We do that nice, good, fat menu that you can do within 35, 40 minutes for a family.
Okay, I have a question
Yes, sir.
for you, and I'm just trying to get a little bit more clarity on this question. It says, can you talk about the blinders and
Yep.
how to take them off?
Easy.
Okay, got it. Go.
Very easy. That's a very easy question. Me personally, just get away. Okay, I'm gonna put it to you like this. Growing up in Detroit, all we were used to were chicken, black-eyed peas, greens, ethnical food that we're used to in our community. Once I didn't know there were other, I did know there were other foods out there, but I didn't know there were other types of foods out there until I got in the military and meeting different types of folks. In order to take those blinds off, you just got to get out there. Just what I do, well, what my daughter them do now, they just get a book, open it up, no matter what it lands on, they're gonna try it. That is the easiest way to really take off the blinders. And you have to be open-minded, because you have to be willing to be able to let your taste foods that's gonna taste totally different than what you're used to. I tell you, my youngest, again, she's my biggest critic. When she was growing up in my culinary journey, growing up, I've never eaten eel, oyster, or none of that. When I tried it, she tried it. I can't get her to not want it now. Eel things, different foods like that. So we have to you just have to take them off. You can't be, of course we got our staples that we're gonna always do in our house, but that's one of the things that I teach in the Zoom, in my demos. I throw many different stuffs out there. I just don't throw salmon. I just don't throw the shrimp or catfish or whiting. We throw all different types of raw tuna, things like that. And once you try it, everybody's gonna have a taste. So you're gonna realize what you're gonna love tasting or what have you not, but you just have to do it. Just get out there and do it.
Right.
And then you have nothing. I'm not gonna say you have nothing to lose, because now the way the world is now, people are allergic to many different things.
Right.
And you know what you may be allergic to. You may not know what you're allergic to. But I tell you, the world of culinary, we cannot talk the same language. But once we get in the kitchen, oh my goodness, we talking the same language then, without even a word.
Well, my daughters laugh at me all the time, and that is there's one restaurant here, and I like it, and sometimes I get the same thing all the time. They pretty much know what I like, and they pretty much like, are you gonna order anything different? And so yes, I am. So there's a message to my daughters, and I'm gonna do something different. So the next question is up here. It said, can you share some creative dishes you have prepared that's out of the box? Throw out some ideas that's out of the box.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
How about and just did it the other day. How about, and that was just a quick fix. How about a surf and turf taco or burrito? And what I did with that, but it was a healthy one. And what I did with that, of course, I had the shrimp. And there's a difference. And I mess with the folks on Zoom with it, and they'll tell you there's a difference between a shrimp and a scrimp. A shrimp is the little shrimps, little. But if you want scrimp, it's the bigger shrimp. So I use the shrimp, chop it up, chicken, well-seasoned chicken, chicken breast, well-seasoned, along with different types of cheeses. And I'm not talking about shredded cheddar cheese. I'm talking about Gouda, feta, cheeses that we're not used to eating. And that's going to come with eating your plate, your tasting palate. And let me tell you, when you mix different foods with different cheeses and different seasonings, and it's a quick fix, that's something kids love, that's something adults love because it's a quick fix. Your cheeses, roll it up and just grill it in a vegetarian butter instead of the grease or olive oil. And that vegetarian butter gives it a total different taste on the tortilla that you're cooking it in. And that's something really simple, really simple. And also doing something out the box, but it's time consuming, reconstructing. And what I mean by reconstructing, you can take a chicken and take it off the bone and put it in another creation, you know, blend it up, add things to it, and put it in a different form. It's still chicken, but it's, when you look at it, you're like, no, that ain't chicken. So that's reconstructing. And that's something that we're going to be getting in here in a few weeks with my Zoom, because that can go many, many different ways. And that's thinking out the box. You know, just chicken, reconstructing chicken, turkey, beef, reconstructing beef, just putting it in a different form, breaking it down, blending it, adding very different seasonings to it. And when you put it on that plate, you're going like, no, that ain't chicken right there. You can't tell me that's chicken. And that's what I love to do. Okay, I like people guessing like that.
Your Saturday night audience is about to get bigger. So as soon as we get that information, we're gonna be tapping in. So tell us tonight. So most of us, we grew up using, back in the day, we didn't have virgin olive oil that much.
Right.
But we grew up
with lard and Weston
Frisco and all of that. So what would you say to us tonight for those who are trying to eat healthy? What type of oils or grease or what you would use to prepare foods? Because some people have high blood pressure,
yep,
they're dealing with health issues, and sometimes they don't know what type of oils to cook with
or salt
to maintain, to keep your temple together.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna start off with this. That's one of the things that I actually be pushing to all the guys on Zoom. Oils. What I cook. Excuse me. I cook a lot with a lot of vegetarian butter, and the reason I cook with that, because it has the low flash on it. It's not gonna burn or what have you not. Plus the cholesterol. It helps with the cholesterol. Let's talk about the salt. I'm gonna start at the top. Let's talk about the salt. I don't use any table salt, iodine salt. If you're gonna use salt, it's best to use kosher salt or pink salt.
Himalayan.
That's salt of earth. I'm sorry?
The Himalayan salt.
Yes, because that's of earth. And I've learned many things of earth is a lot better for you than man-made. We grew up with that Morton salt. Big old containers of Morton salt.
Man, I still got some. I like that Morton salt, but I'm learning. I'm learning.
You gotta get rid of it, man. They make kosher Morton, but because you use less salt. It takes you to use less of that salt, that kosher or rock salt, than it does iodine salt. And stay away. I just say stay away from that. You don't need it. You don't need it. And then one of the things that I push really heavy on when I'm cooking with everyone, I'm using a lot of fresh herbs, lots and lots of fresh herbs. The reason that is because essence of the oils that's in those herbs. You're not going to need a lot of salt with my recipes because of the essence with the herbs. It took me a while to really learn that. And once I learned it, I lost my mind, Bishop. And I push it out there. Herbs, fruit with natural sweets, because a lot of times sugars can be also bad for you also.
That was going to be my next question. So if someone wanted to know tonight, the different types of sugar, what would be the most healthiest sugar? And then I got another question coming up. But tell us about the sugar before we get to the next question.
Okay, well, on the sugar, it's hard because there's so many out there. It's so, I mean, the industry is just swamped with so many different things. So for me to alleviate from that, I use a lot of foods that's naturally sugared, especially fruits, because I cook with a lot of fruits because of those natural sugars. And once you realize, like oranges, of course it's maybe a citrus, but it's sweet. Pears, when you cook it with and cooking it with different herbs, it actually enhance and bring out the essence of everything together. And I rarely use a lot of sugar unless I have to. I'm not a baker because bakers, and that should be a question, and I got to get better on that. But that's a question that a lot of bakers may know because I'm not a baker. Because I'm not too good in that baking because I tear up. It look crazy. I know my lane, so I stay on the savory side. But
Okay.
I definitely stay on the savory side, sir.
Gotcha. Next question is, what's your thoughts on
The grapeseed?
Yes, sir.
Grapeseed. I'm on the fence on that because it's not proven on the oil, but can you ask the person, well, I'm gonna ask you, do it have a high flash point with it? And what I mean by a high flash point, when it gets hot and you throw something in there, it starts screaming, it starts really talking to you, and you can see like little sparks coming. That's a high flash. But if it's a low flash, you can throw it in there, that food is talking to you, but if it's touching fire, it's not gonna catch on fire. Because if you notice, a lot of chefs, if they doing a flambe, they're using an oil, something of an oil that has a high flash with it. That's what creates that flambe. But I use a lot of low flash oils because I don't want that unless I have to actually use it. Because flambés are really for show. You know, get your attention. Grab you like, oh, what's going on over there? And it draws you to that. And that's what a lot of chefs do to draw you to that area, especially if they out in doing shows or what have you.
Okay. So you see the next question that says, who is the baddest chef you've ever met other than yourself?
It's a lot of them, but let me tell you, and he's local. This brother is local. I've met many chefs, but I tell you, it's on Rock Harper, man. That is a bad boy.
Who is that?
Rock Harper. The gentleman, well, there's really two of them. The gentleman that he won Hell's Kitchen 3.
Okay.
Rock Harper. That is as a matter of fact, I was really fortunate and blessed for him to be one of my teachers in culinary school when I was getting my degree here at Stafford. And let me tell you, that is the most humble. He's very humble. He loves to teach, and he listens to your opinion. One thing out in the chef world that I've learned, that there are a lot of very arrogant chefs out there that are arrogant for no reason. Arrogant for no reason. I'm like, okay. And it took me a long time to really learn that when I found out the time when I was starting, there wasn't very many black chefs that you saw out there or of color. But it's really, the culinary world is traditionally a Caucasian field. But it's gotten much better now. The field is much, much better. There's a lot of talent out there now of color. But Chef Rock Harper, that's a bad brother there, man.
Now, does he have his own business of anything, or does he have a restaurant or anything?
I know he does a lot of shows.
Okay.
Chef, he does a lot of shows. He has his own podcast. He's doing a lot. He's doing a lot of moving. He's doing a lot of movement within the industry, and he does a lot of work with the homeless shelters. A lot of work. And there's nothing like giving back to the community, man. I think that is one of the, and I think that should be really a criteria for all chefs, man, that, give back, go out there and give back to the community. Because a lot of them that I've learned, and this is just me speaking, a lot of them get out there and they forget about, they're all about money. I can do this, money. But it's not always about money. It's always about what can you do to help that next man, the next woman, that next family within your community. And because there's always going to be someone always not as fortunate as myself. So you have to look at that. We grew up like that. There's always someone doing worse than you. You have to think about them also.
So in your career of 30-some years and being a chef,
Yes, sir.
and a lot of things we get into, we have to start somewhere. And the scripture says, don't despise small beginnings. And so when we get into our gifts and our talents, and there are going to come moments where you're going to flunk, and it ain't going to turn out right when you first start. Can you talk to us, for somebody that's listening tonight that may have started something and it's not working out like they anticipated or like they thought, and they're on the verge of saying, you know what, I'm just going to quit and I'm going to try something different. Tell us tonight, in the culinary school or world, what made you stick with it, even when there were probably moments when you just say, you know what, I don't even know if this is for me or not?
Well, it started with me in the military. And I mean, that was years ago. But my very first failure, and I felt real bad. And I'm going to tell you the story about it. I was stationed in Bamberg, Germany. Young private. I didn't even know culinary existed. So I was walking to the PX one day, and there was a building, the community center, past the community center. And I look in there, and it's like a food show going on in there. So I'm curious. I'm a cook. I walk in there in my cook whites, because then we were wearing cook whites then. Walking there in my cook whites, looking, I walk, oh, okay. Wow, I've never seen nothing like that. Because they had dishes, fancy dishes, and I was like, wow, the Army does this? So I looked, so I said, hey, how can I be able to do this? They said, all you gotta do is, here's the rules, and then just enter. And luckily, they was having another one in 2 weeks. I said, oh yeah, I'm gonna get in this next one. So I already had an idea. I said, man, I'm gonna make this fish tank full of Jell-O, but I'm gonna cut out fish and fruit. When I tell you, I made a fish tank full of Jell-O with fruit in it, I did it, but the fish tank was about 15 gallons. So I used a lot of Jell-O, So, because the facility ordered, they said, yeah, sure, go ahead, Private, you can do it, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you, did it, messed up the house. My wife was just like, boy, you gonna clean this up, and what is that? She just looking like, what is, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking. I'm gonna win something with this. I took that heavy 15-gallon tank in there. Everybody stopped. They looked at me like, what in the world is what is this? I said, hey, this is my entry. Man, they must have laughed at me. So luckily, growing up, I was thick-skinned, because you got yelled at a lot. Your cousins growing up, you talked about each other. So I was thick-skinned. But at that moment, I thought they was breaking the thick skin. So I learned that I need to read the rules a lot better than what I did. And it pushed me, because I didn't want to fail like that. And of course I was embarrassed, but I was personally embarrassed, because I didn't do the proper research that I was supposed to. But I would say to anybody out there that wanna, feel like they fail in something, you continue to keep doing it, because I'm gonna tell you, coming to chef, I have failed many, many times, but I took that failure, worked on what I failed on, and just made it better. And actually, everybody know what they're good at, but it's what you fail at that you need to work on to enhance it. And all it takes is one person to see what you're trying to do, and then it'll go from there. All it takes is one. That's all it takes is one. And you have to be strong. You have to have that faith. You gotta be strong. Have to.
So question has just come in that says, what is your favorite dish to make? And then I'm gonna come back and piggyback on what you just said in a few minutes about thick skin.
Okay, well, I have no one dish, because I try to make all my dishes my favorite, especially ones that I create with a client out there that want to create a dish. Because if I pick that one dish, then I don't want that to be my staple. I want to be, I don't care what you get off his menu. It don't matter. I want that. I want to make it hard. If I was to ever have a restaurant or go into that side of it, I want it to be I want you to be very difficult on. I don't know what I want. What am I going to get? Okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this today. Next time I come, I'm going to try that. That's what I want. So I have no particular favorite dish, but my go-to is actually the ribs. that I think that, because my daughter got me on that, but that's my go-to. Ribs and actually a very seasoned baked chicken. Because we try to stay away from a lot of the fried foods. And I tell you, bake can just be just as good. You can fry it, baking it just as well as you fry it, and it tastes just even better.
So have you ever had fried ribs?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So I did it for the first time last week, and my daughters thought, "What in the world are you doing?" So it's out there. People do it.
Yeah, but when you do it I think a lot of people. What did you cooking in, if you don't mind asking, Bishop?
I had some Mazola oil.
Check it for you. If no one has a peanut allergy, try cooking it in peanut oil.
Okay. Appreciate that. Okay.
Because one thing, not to cut you off, Bishop, but one thing, remember, peanut oil, whatever your season that you're putting on there, that peanut oil is just going to enhance whatever you put on that, whatever you're cooking.
Okay. All right. So let me put the boat in reverse and back up a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Because a lot of times when we're talking about getting into something and you're starting something, and that's going to be some hiccups along the way.
Yes, it is.
And especially when you're cooking, you're going to run into people that may not like what you cook. Everybody got different tastes. Mm-hmm. And so some people may say, I don't like your cooking. So as a chef, because being a preacher a pastor for over 30-some years, I've been to many places and I've preached a message, and some people say, well, I didn't get anything out of that. But talk to somebody tonight just to let them know everybody's going to have an opinion, but that doesn't mean that what you're doing is still bad. And it's a reason for you just to quit, because you'll never be able to please everybody.
You're not. And I'm glad you brought that up. One of the things that I've learned, and luckily I learned a lot in the military, of course, being thick-skinned, but cooking and the business I'm in, it's a customer service industry. If you can learn how to just reply back to them, because as long as you stay calm, let's go off of what you just said right there, Bishop. I don't like the way you cook that or what have you not. First thing I'm going to ask is, okay, what did you didn't like about it? I apologize you didn't like what I cooked, but what do you didn't like about it? Try to gauge to find out what they didn't like about it. Of course, you might have 1 out of 100 that don't like it, but it can be that one that can take you over the top. It's always good to know what they didn't like. And you're like, okay, I'll try to work on it next time. But it's always going to be those, I've learned, it's always going to be those ones out there, no matter what you say, they're still going to be unsatisfied. You have to take that with a grain of salt, because you can't focus on that one person, especially if you can't change them. You have to focus on what the customers that love eating what you make. And you have to, stay with that. You can listen. And then because being in a customer service business, you have to listen and you have to engage. And I've learned as a culinarian, sometimes I have to take off my culinary hat, because a lot of folks, and I've learned this, that a lot of people like their food dry. I don't understand why, and I'll give you a good example. Folks like their chicken dry when you cook it on the grill, because I had an event. And the way I cook it, when you cut it, it's going to be juicy. It's done. It's just juicy.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling me my chicken ain't done. And I said, no, it's done. And you say, no, I see blood running. I said, that's not blood. That's myoglobin. And I'm like, they may not know what myoglobin is. I got to take that hat off.
Right.
I'm like, okay.
Now you got to explain.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. All right, no problem. It's done. So I had to learn, sometimes you have to, some people don't want to hear that explanation. You just have to let them go ahead, let them get it out their system. I'm sorry you feel that way. Just keep it rolling, keep it rolling.
My daughter just put up on the screen, Mazola oil might as well be poison.
For real. Yeah. That's why, and there's alternative, and I cook with a lot of alternative things. You know, I love cooking everything with vegetarian butter, and I had to learn that because my daughter is a vegetarian. Then I have one daughter that eats meat. I have one that eat everything, and I have one that don't eat meat. So I have to be right when I'm cooking for the family. So that made me learn another way of cooking also. And whenever I have a client that want to throw something, they, well, what do you have for, I have somebody that don't eat this? Oh, no problem. I can throw this in there because I'm cooking, I've learned cooking for my daughter. This might be good for them. You know, I throw out those suggestions and they go with it.
Now, we have, okay, so the next question is, before I get into this, do you have a lot of kitchen gadgets?
Ooh, man, do I? Man, my wife mad. She made me put stuff in storage. She like, okay, you got too much stuff up here on this counter. So in the house, I have to keep the basic, the blender, the mixer, and I have my niece and nephew come over, and I have, like, you know, where we play with the waffle maker and things like that, or the where you can make paninis, different type of paninis. But I'm that type of guy. I don't know how to say no to things.
Okay, all right. So for those who are watching and listening tonight, I'm going to be receiving some information after Let's Talk About It is over, such as how to be a part of Chef Greene's show on platform on Saturday night. Now we're going to put our information in the box. T, can you put the New Life information in the box? And if you would like the information from Chef Greene tonight about, and you're not a member of our New Life family and you're on Facebook, or you might be a guest on Zoom, and you would like that information, also put your website, your email address in there as well, so we can make sure you get the information and you can tune in as well, because once the show is over tonight, we might not be able to see your information again if you're watching from Facebook Live. So it's our intentions to make sure you get the information that you need from Chef Greene, so you can participate in his Zoom classes on Saturday. So our information is here. If you have information that you want to put in for us to send to you, just please type it in the chat box and we'll make sure that you get it as soon as I receive the information after Let's Talk About It is over. Do we have any final questions for the chef? Okay, what is the best cookware as far as pots and pans that we should be using, or does it make a difference? I think you're on mute. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. There you go.
Okay. Woo. Okay. Hold on for a second. Lisa, can you do the site for me? I want to send it to the bishop. Thank you. The Zoom.
If she wants, she can type it in the box, or however you want to send it to us. We'll make sure everybody get it.
Okay, sir. Well, to talk about the pans, I think anything that's definitely non-stick. And then when you use it, and when you're using those non-stick, don't use your fork, because you know we have a tendency to want to use it when we're doing our eggs, want to use a fork or what have you not. Rubber spatula. And they make rubber spatulas that are actually heat resistant. And you can do just as much scrambling with that. But any pots that are, or pans that are that won't stick. I use copper. When I use a copper pan, It's usually the big ones, and that's when I'm usually probably roasting something because I want it. It holds that heat. It holds that heat all the way around. But and pots, anything that can actually have that hard bottom, because you don't want that thin pot, because if you're trying to actually cook something or boil something in it, like say like greens or have you not, the water may boil out and it sticks and burns really, really quick. So you want to try to get something with a thick end, a thick bottom on it. And it holds it and it actually cooks it really even with the thick bottoms. But this is keeping it real simple. Try to stay away from the off-brand. And I can honestly say this, it can sometimes get expensive on what you get. But just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's good either. So you definitely want to do the research on whatever type of brand that you're getting, because there's a lot of brands. It's flooded with a lot of brands out there, and just because it's expensive, or you're paying a lot for it, doesn't mean it's good.
Okay, that's excellent. Next question is cooking on gas or electric with cookware. Which is the best?
Oh, as a chef, I'm gonna always say gas.
Gas.
Because, and the reason I say gas, you can actually control everything with gas. When you use an electric, of course, it's going to have a setting, but then is that setting really true to how you want it?
Right.
And with gas, I can get the food talking really quick the way I want it, sizzling or not sizzling. So gas, you have more control with me, more control with gas than you do with electric.
Okay. Now, if someone is coming in on Saturday night for the very first time,
yes, sir,
to your show, what should they have, or do you recommend that they come in and watch the first time, and then the second time they can have whatever they need, or are you going to send us that information?
I'm gonna send you that information because
Okay.
again, that information is gonna be in the invitation that my daughter sent you. But I'm saying, don't just sit, participate.
Okay. All right.
There's not. Why wait?
Okay.
Because the dinner that we're doing that day, well, the meal that we're doing, that can be your dinner. That can be the family dinner.
Okay. All right. We got 2 more questions then.
Yes,
what
sir.
about a convection stove that requires magnetic pots or pans?
Okay. You're gonna have to actually. Well, they actually still make those thick bottom pans for that. And I know what you're talking, because we use that a lot in the shows when I was doing shows. So because it doesn't get hot until it actually touches it, or what have you not. But they still make the thick end, but it's still, you have to really monitor that, because those stoves, those can actually really get really hot. Those can get really hot. It can sneak up on you real quick. So that you really want to monitor, especially when you're cooking a lot of food. Monitor that product that you're actually cooking.
And before I ask this next question, do you use, when you're preparing meats, do you use a lot of organic meat?
No, I don't, because now organic meat, anything organic is very expensive now. The price is really, of course, because of the pandemic.
Right.
But they were even up there prior to this.
Okay.
So organic is just, it's just the way they feed it, the way they actually feed in the animal,
Mm-hmm.
a cow, what have you not, not really going through. I don't, to be honest,
Okay.
and I'll be honest with you, I don't. I just, if I see it and I see a good deal, because I don't care what type of meat you make, it's all gonna come out how you make it. I can take a Walmart steak and a steak from the highest restaurant. And once you cook it, when I cook it, you won't tell the difference. So,
right.
Yes.
So next question, air fryers, good or bad? And if they're good, what brand do you like?
Oh, that's one of my gadgets. I got
Okay.
one.
Okay.
They are good.
Okay.
They are good. They are good. They're good. Cause you're not using no grease, and it's not messy. All you do, take it out, put it in, and I can't think of the brand. Oh my goodness.
Well, you can always send it to me.
Yep, I sure
I'll
will.
get it.
Man, and it does everything. And you can even rotisserie in the one that I have. And let me tell you, that air fryer because it's using what's beauty about that air fryer, whatever, and it goes back to the seasoning. Whatever herb and seasoning you put on that product, you gonna taste it. It won't give you no false taste. I love it.
Well, you just confirmed something for me tonight. It's me and my wife been on the fence about whether or not we wanted to get one, and we were waiting to get some confirmation, and so we got it tonight. So the next thing I'll be waiting for is the brand that you have. You let me know what that brand is.
And if you like if you love fries, that is, let me tell you, and I'm a fry nut. I tell you, just like you.
Okay, excellent.
And I knew she meant induction. I knew what she was talking about.
Okay, right. Okay. All right. Any final questions before we wrap it up? I think this has been great tonight. Chef, you have ministered to us from the natural side of life and from the spiritual side of life as well. You've given us some things to think about when it comes down to whether we're dealing with our kids or whether we're dealing with family, friends, spouse. So it's been great tonight. And what I would like to do is bring you back again. And when we bring you back, we want to see how you maneuver in the kitchen.
Oh, that's too easy. I could have did that for you. Give me 5 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. Sure.
Now, I know you have your platform on Saturday night, but I would like to bring you back on mine, and we want you to do something completely out of the box that we wouldn't think of might be good. And
okay.
We want to watch you do it, and then we'll be able to send in some of our questions as you do it. Me and you, we'll be talking after this is over, and we'll set a date.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna bring you back. I really want to see it. I'll be seeing you once I get the information. Like I say, your audience is going to grow because I believe that there's some people that really want to learn culinary because I think it's good. And especially if you can't cook and you want to cook, that's what you want to do. Is you want to be what I was taught in seminary school. You always want to be around somebody that can do it better than you. And so if we can tune in to what you're doing, I think it will help us. And so if you have any final words that you would like to give us before I close it out, this is your opportunity.
All right. Well, first and foremost, I very much appreciate you inviting me to do this. And the last thing I want to say to your audience is have fun doing it, because believe me, once you're the ones that can't cook, those are your best cookers, believe it or not, because they have no bad habits. They don't know no bad habits. And it's very contagious. And let me tell you, you will love it. Trust me, especially the way we do it. Especially the way we do it.
Okay, New Life family and friends, I need you to give Chef Greene some love. I don't know if you can throw the hearts out there, whatever's available, the thank yous or the thumbs up, whatever you can do. Let him know how much we appreciate him coming on tonight. So, okay, we're gonna wait a while so everybody can get that little chat in and let us know how much you appreciate it. Having Chef Greene on tonight. Now, while you're sending your thank yous and your shout outs, I want to say to anyone that's listening to me tonight, whether you are first time on Zoom or Facebook Live, if there is a subject that you would like for us to discuss, please, again, put the information in the chat box for anyone to send a email to me. We'll get it, we'll read it, and we'll try to find or get that platform on so we can help you in whatever you are dealing with. info@nlcbc.org. And so everyone, Chef, can you see what's coming up?
Yeah, I love the one. I'm glad. Thank you for not chopping me.
So we definitely appreciate you, and we're gonna be getting together. We're gonna be talking either tomorrow or the next day. Maybe I'll wait until after your show on Saturday night, because I know you're going to be preparing and stuff. And so after that, we'll pick a date and bring you back on and let you bless us real good, so we get a chance to see this. And people they're already saying they're looking forward to the Zoom session. And so we're caught up in the house. We're on quarantine. And so I just believe that we are to come out of this COVID-19, this quarantine, learning how to do something. Let's not waste our time, but let's pursue something while we have all of this time on our hands. And if you can't pursue something, and you might not know, for those who are listening tonight, you might not know what it is that you want to do, or you feel like you're gifted or talented to do. Pray and ask the Lord. He will reveal it to you. Yeah. It is not the will of the Lord to keep secrets from you. If it's going to better you and better the kingdom of God and bring glory to his name, then he wants you to know. So it's just simply bowing and asking the Lord, Lord, show me what it is that you want me to do during this time of quarantine, during this time of pandemic. How can I come out of this thing better off than I came in? So again, thank all of you tonight who participated on Zoom. Those of you who participated on Facebook Live, thank you again. Chef, thank you. And your family, tell your daughter I said hello. I look forward to meeting her. And when all of this is over, we're going to bring you in one of our kitchens and let you do your thing.
I can play in the kitchen now.
All right. To all of our watchers tonight, have a good night. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you, and we look forward to seeing you on next Thursday night. Please watch Instagram and Facebook. We will be putting our flyers out, letting you know who's going to be our guests for next week. And I'll have that information. I promise you, I'll put it out on tomorrow for those of you who are watching, so you'll know the time and where the information to zoom in for Saturday night for Chef Greene's show. So thank you again. Good night, everybody. We love you, and thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Chef.
All righty. Be safe.
Good night. All right.